Pigskin pun. Get you some.
And Jim also said, I heard the Eagles were good enough too. They were good enough. They were good enough to win the Super Bowl. Now, will they repeat? Slow it down, baby. Slow it down, baby, because that is where our show starts at tonight. Our show starts off tonight talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. Guys, the Philadelphia Eagles had the best defense in all of NFL in 2024. The Philadelphia Eagles had the best overall team, the best roster from top to bottom in 2024. When they played their A game, there was not a single team in the NFL that was going to beat them. Well, guess what? The offseason has been not friendly to the Philadelphia Eagles on the defensive side of the ball. The Eagles have lost a lot of their big name players from 2024, including C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, James Bradberry, just to name a few. Matter of fact, most of the players that they've lost have been in the secondary on the defensive side of the ball. So when we look at the Philadelphia Eagles, guys, will they repeat in 2025? Can they go back to the Super Bowl and beat an AFC team in the Super Bowl in 2025? The biggest staple of the Philadelphia Eagles last season, guys, was their running game. Let's call a spade a spade. Saquon Barkley was the man, the myth, the legend. They had the second best running attack in the NFL in the regular season at 179.3 yards per game. In the playoffs, they were the second best team in the rushing category in the NFL at 227.7 yards per game. On the flip side, they had the number one defense in 2024. First overall defense, first in pass defense, and 10th in rush defense. So far, this free agency period, the only thing they have done on the defensive side of the ball is they re-signed Zach Braun, which was a great signing. It was 3 years, $54 million, if I'm not mistaken. I'm thinking off the top of my head here. But beyond that, they have released Darius Slay. They've released James Bradberry. They traded C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Josh Sweat signed with a new team. Those are four big names from that defense that just poof, gone like the wind, baby. Now, as of Josh Sweat was a huge part of the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl win. Let's just get it twisted. Josh Sweat should have won that MVP. He was the man, the myth, the legend. But his overall success in 2024 was meh. Right? Meh. He was just ranked 28th overall as an edge rusher in the NFL. He was ranked 38th in pass rush grade and 48th ranked in the run defensive grade. Not a very good season for Josh Sweat. On the other side of the ball, James Bradberry, not very good ranking-wise. Darius Slay, not very good ranking-wise, both below the top 20. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson barely snuck into the top 20 in the overall grade. Now, the Eagles had one of the deepest secondaries in the NFL last season before injury started to bite them a little bit. There were, if you guys remember, back in June and July and August of last season, we actually talked about the Philadelphia Eagles potentially having to release James Bradberry or Darius Slay before the season even started. So, guys, when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they are a good team. They're still going to have that run-dominant offense, ball control offense. Their defense is still going to be very, very good. Do not get it twisted. That front seven is best in the NFL, even without Josh Sweat. They can still add Joey Bosa. They could still add Von Miller. They could still add Jadarius Smith. There's still a long offseason still to have, plus a draft. But the secondary's gotten a little thin. So will they repeat in 2025? I have to say no. They will not repeat in 2025. Super Bowl hangover is a real deal, especially in the NFC. Granted, they did win, but usually when a team loses in the NFC in the Super Bowl or wins it, they don't even make the playoffs or the championship game, I should say, the following season. Now, I'm not saying that the Eagles will not make a decent run. I am not saying that the Eagles cannot have a good season next season, but the NFC just got a hell of a lot better. The Rams got a hell of a lot better. The Detroit Lions Super Bowl window is still open a little bit. Green Bay Packers get a little bit better. And the Chicago Bears, we need to stop sleeping on them. Me especially. I'm wearing my Chicago Cubs hat, City Connection hat tonight for a reason. Because I might be jumping on that Chicago Bears bandwagon. But guys, let me ask you this question. When we look at the Philadelphia Eagles, losing Josh Sweat, losing Darius Slay, losing CJ Garner-Johnson, James Bradbury, just to name a few. More are probably on the way. Can they rebuild and repeat in 2025? John says, nah. The Eagles are going to flip this year. So they're going to go from 14-3 to 3-14, John? Is that what you're saying? Are you predicting them to have a losing season, only 3 wins? That would be tough. Oh, he's like he said flop, but still flop. That's tough. So when you say flop, John, are you still saying that they can compete in the NFC, make the playoffs as a wild card? Because let's just be honest, I think everybody and their dogs is going to be picking the Commanders to win that NFC East. Everybody and their dogs are probably going to pick the Commanders to make it to the NFC Championship game yet again. Is a flop losing a wild card game? Is a flop not making the playoffs? What do you consider a flop? Jim says the NFC Super Bowl hangover syndrome is a real deal. Jim, you are right. Now, I do not have the numbers out in front of me as of right now, but I cannot remember one NFC team even remotely attempting to make it back to the Super Bowl the following year after the Super Bowl. Because let's think about this logically, right? The Kansas City Chiefs played the old who did they play last year? Can't even remember who they played. Needless to say, that team is not in there. It was the 49ers, right? 49ers were not in there. The previous year before that was the Eagles. No repeat. The previous year before that was the 49ers. No repeat. The previous year before that was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No repeat, right? The NFC does not have repeat teams going to the Super Bowl year after year. So Super Bowl hangover syndrome in the NFC is a real deal. Is a real thing. Maybe they can break the curse. Maybe. Old Man River says, Buck, I don't think so. Old Man River says, I do not think the Philadelphia Eagles will make it to the Super Bowl again in 2025. Now, let's not get it twisted. Old Man River is the pigskin pundit.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
And he does have like 5 teams that he does like. He does like the Seahawks. He does like the Cowboys. He does like the Lions and the Raiders and I think the Houston Texans, right? So maybe he's just saying, hey, it's Lions time to shine, baby. Hey, it's the Commanders time to shine. But he doesn't think so. My man Alpha Rob says, I don't think Barkley is going to have the same season. I think you are exactly right, Alpha Rob. Now, I'm not saying that Saquon Barkley has a good season and then a mediocre season and a good season and a mediocre season, but I'm saying the stats show you that he has a good season and he has a mediocre season and gets injured. He has a good season and has a mediocre season and gets injured. I am also saying that the Philadelphia Eagles are picking up a bunch of the Texans' old linemen. Was it Laramie Tunsil, right, that they just signed? Was it Laramie Tunsil? I can't remember. The Eagles just signed some offensive lineman, traded for CJ Garner-Johnson for an offensive lineman, one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Not for sure bringing him over to the Eagles is a great choice, but hey, you do you, boss. But the Eagles' offensive line is getting old. Lane Johnson's like 15 years in the league, whatever. They're trying to rebuild and repair. I get it. But Saquon Barkley was a downhill runner last year because of that strong offensive line. People will start to key on that. People will force Jalen Hurts to beat them, right? Now, for Rob says, he'll still be good, just not 2,000 yards good. There's never been a repeat 2,000-yard season. Actually, I think the last 2,000-yard season was what? Latavius Murray for the Dallas Cowboys, right? And then he got traded off he was a free agent, went to the Texans. I don't think he ever played for the Texans, got cut, and went to the Jets and got cut, and Giants got cut. Like, what? He actually ended up on the Eagles, right? Whatever. John says the Eagles might make the playoffs. Might. Very slim possibility. But honestly, let's look at the NFC logically here, right? The Rams, I think, is the best team in the NFC. They're going to win the West. Let's look at the North. Let's probably give it to the Lions. We have to give credit where credit is due. Lions are a good team. We head out to the East. Let's say the Commanders win that division. Let's head out to the NFC South. The Steelers are doing some big moves, but I still got to give it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then we're looking at wild cards, right? The wild cards are probably going to be the Packers. You might throw the Bears in there. Hell, you might even throw the Vikings in there. The whole NFC North could potentially make it, but it's still the Bears at the end of the day. So I'm going to give it to the Vikings and then the Packers. And then we have that 7th seed, right? Is it going to be the Eagles? Is it going to be the Cardinals? Is it going to be the Panthers? Like the NFC all of a sudden got really good. I mean, they are really convoluted right there from 3 to about 10 range, right? Any team could jump up there and kind of shock you. So, and unfortunately, the Eagles are on the outside looking in on that. John says, I agree with Rob. I think Barkley is nothing like last year. Mediocre at best, if not an injury bug comes back and bite him. And that's his MO. I'm not here to wish ill will on anybody. Let's just be flat out honest. I'm not here to wish any injury or bad juju on any team. But history shows Saquon Barkley breaks 1,000 yards, then he's below 1,000 yards. Then he breaks 1,000 yards, then he's below 1,000 yards. Granted, it was with the Giants, but still, history has a way of repeating itself. West Philly Black is in the chat. What's up, West Philly Black? Be sure to hit that like button, my man. He says, Eagles will repeat next year as champions. To Pete. I told you they were going to go blow out the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I believe you are correct. I don't remember your exact score. I think you had the Chiefs scoring like 21 points. You had your Eagles like 40 points. But yeah, definitely a blowout. But let's slow down to 2 Pete. First of all, 2 Pete's the absolutely asinine thing that you can say. Say repeat or back-to-back. 2 Pete is just never say that again. I want you to take two Pete, write it down on a piece of paper in a Sharpie, and then put it in the trash, and we never say that again. We'll say back-to-back or repeat, okay? But the Eagles do have a good opportunity to repeat. I agree. They still have one of the best offenses of running games in the NFL. They're still going to have a top 10, top 12 defense in the NFL. No question about that. Despite losing Darius Slay, Josh Sweat, James Bradley, CJ Gardner-Johnson, just to name a few. They still have a lot of competition, though. The NFC might be the most competitive this season as well. And Old Man River says, and Dallas stayed the same. Of course, you got to speak about the Dallas Cowboys. But what do you guys think? Can the Philadelphia Eagles repeat in 2025? I'm saying no, and I think the majority of this chat is saying no, besides West Philly Black. Obviously, he is a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Let's move on. My bad, guys. The old allergies are